Greetings and salutations, fellow styrene molesters. Cheers. Nothing like a mug of ale. This one I got from my dear darling wife, and on it is inscribed, "The only brew for the brave and true comes from the Green Dragon. To my brave and true, Christmas 2010. But can you tell me what film that comes from? The only brew for the brave and true comes from the Green Dragon. Answers below. So would you believe it? I've only gone and completed another kit this year. That's 2, and it's only February. I mean, God, at this rate I might even have another one done by Christmas. Technically the Cromwell was started last year, but it was finished this year, and this one was started and finished this year in what, a month or something? And just in time for the club meet, for the competition night. We actually meet at 7:30, and I kid you not, but at about 6:30, 6:45 I was putting the antenna wire on. And it won. Like I said, it's nothing major, it's just the little theme nights that we'll have when you'll get a wee bit of paper and you vote for the various things, but it's quite a good turnout of stuff. However, 2 key members of the club weren't showing any kits that night, and I'm sure if they had done, the results might have been a little bit different. But it did receive a lot of favourable praise and adulation, some people actually preferring it to the Stuka, so I suppose that's a compliment for it. Am I happy with it? From here, yes. From here, not so much. And I don't know that it's really, of course its modelling skills obviously play a huge part in it, but there are just certain limitations with 1/44th, and these are most noticeable. It actually came to my attention when I was taking the photographs of it. This is a 14 megapixel camera, so you can go in pretty close whilst maintaining a reasonable resolution. And when you get in close, that's, you know, I mean, if you look at a lovely sheet of glass under a microscope, it'll look like the Rocky Mountains, you know, but when you pull back it looks nice and shiny. And this one looks nice and shiny from here, but when you get in close it kind of looks a little bit rough around the edges. And I mean, like, really close. Because when I was wanting to show the picture of the gun sight, I made a gun sight for it, a 1/44th scale gun sight. I did that on the Stuka as well, even with the little aiming reticle or thing with the crosshairs in. And when I was taking that photo, or you know, zooming in on that photo, it was like, oh jeez. But again, I think it's just the fact that it's small. So it looks fine from here, as they say. I mean, it looks like a Wildcat to me, and if, as they say, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, chances are it's a duck, or maybe a very talented chicken. I mean, yeah, it says Wildcat, and it looks like a Wildcat, so let's just say it's a Wildcat. So yeah, I wanted to build a gun sight for it, and in doing so I discovered that the gun sight's slightly overscale. Again, just limitations of trying to build something very, very small and in a very, very small scale. And because it's overscale, the canopy, the front section of the canopy, wouldn't fit over it because it's thick, you know, because it was the injection molded piece. I didn't vac form the front because, again, I didn't want to risk damaging that, because you only got the 1 kit. I mean, if it had maybe been one of those sweet kits where it got the 2, I might have chanced it because I had something to fall back on. But because this one came with that, the little carrier deck, remember that I sung its praises in the last video, it's in the bin, because I completely and utterly screwed it up royal, and I mean royal. None of us are infallible. I won't bore you with the details, suffice to say, the bin. What you actually see here, this is actually the same carrier deck pattern that I used with the Dauntless. I bought an actual base for the Dauntless, a 1/40th scale base, and when I clicked, you know, I googled US carrier deck World War II, and this one came on when I clicked it, and it took you to the website that was selling them, and it says underneath, click to enlarge image. Well, instead of them actually showing it, you know, like sitting like this or like that, like a plane on it, they show it like that, and when you click enlarge, it goes fills your screen with this high-res image of this carrier deck, that if you right click and save image as, and then click print, and then you get it for nothing. Their fault entirely. So it looks quite good, and I was also able to print a little details about the plane as well. How did I go into that? Oh yeah, the front section of the canopy. So what I did was I took Alclad's micro mesh polishing cloths. Say that 10 times fast. In fact, it's the sort of thing Sean Connery would say, isn't it? That's the micro mesh polishing cloths. Maybe not. So I took them and just sort of like gently wrote. I mean, it goes from 3,600 grade. That's the roughest, up to 12,000 grade, which just looks like a shiny bit of paper. And that's what you do the eventual polish with. And just by rubbing that on the inside, I was just sort of whittling it down, just on the edges, not the whole body of the canopy section. And the slight disadvantage of that is that it's kind of beveled on the edge, and being clear, and something clear with a bevel has a lensing effect, so it kind of actually magnifies the already oversized gun sight. But you know what? It's 1/44 scale, and meh, as they say. A couple other little things that I did was the antenna mast. Now, this was kind of odd actually, because the kit is just ridiculously well engineered. Everything about it is just superb. The fit, everything. And did I use any filler on this? I don't think I did actually. No, not a single drop of filler. And yet the antenna mast, when I measured it with my little scale rule, if you scale it up 144 times, it was about that size. It was like a telegraph pole coming out of the back of the plane. So I just completely cut that off, sanded it down, and then made one out of brass rod and filed it down so that it was the appropriate size. And also for the guns, the Hellcat has 4 guns, 2 in each wing obviously. 2 protrude from the leading edge and 2 are either flush or just slightly recessed. So for the protruding ones, I just used for that I just used 0.33mm Albion Alloys microtube, just cut little slivers off the edges of that, stuck them on the leading edge, painted them gunmetal, and they look like protruding gun muzzles. And for the recessed ones, I took this 1/48 scale rivet maker and just pressed that against the leading edge, and a 1/48 scale rivet looks remarkably like a 1/44 scale machine gun muzzle. So that worked quite well. I didn't do any hydraulic lines on the undercarriage, simply because I didn't really have time, and now that it's finished and it's done, I probably won't ever do that. And also I had the idea, the cowling, the engine, the propeller aren't glued. They're just such a good fit that they're just sitting there quite happy. But the reason I didn't glue them was that I thought, well, maybe at a later stage I might cut the top area off the cowling and try and sort of scratch build the R2600 engine that's in the Wildcat. Because making a radial engine at that scale may be quite a challenge, but probably just some appropriately scaled plastic rod and just excuse me, wrap some copper wire around it to sort of replicate the cooling fins on the cylinder blocks. But I don't know. Now that it's done, it's done. I just want to move on. But I'll tell you one thing that I'm not, well, it's not that I'm not happy about it, it's just it didn't turn out exactly how I thought it would, and that's the colour scheme. Excuse me. I went for the 3-tone scheme, which is the white underside, intermediate blue on the flanks, and then gloss sea blue, although I went for the non-specular sea blue instead of the gloss on the upper surfaces. Now, I'm not one of these anal retentives that has to have the exact bang-on shade. I mean, and you know, it looks like a US Navy Wildcat. But if you look, I mean, there's the 2 paints. There's the intermediate blue and there's the non-specular sea blue. Completely different. 2 totally different blues. This lovely, nice, light, bright blue, and then this darker blue. And according to my research, now I don't put too much into this, but this is Gun Sanyo's H54. They call it navy blue, and that does, according to several sources, online sources, correspond to FS15042, and that is FS35164 intermediate blue. Unless I really sort of, with a big magnifying glass, point to it, you can't see that there's 2 blues on there. I mean, I did de-emphasise the darker blue by highlighting the middle centre of the panels with a slightly light, just to give that kind of faded paint effect. and that's maybe brought them a little bit closer together, but you just can't see that there's two blues on there. It just looks like the dauntless of a single blue scheme. And I mean, it looks really nice on there. And when I saw the paints, I thought, oh, that's going to look really, really bonny. But that doesn't look anything. That looks like that, but that doesn't look anything like intermediate blue. But anyway, that's a small gripe. As a kit, it works. It looks the part. Meh. So, time to move on. And if it comes, because it hasn't arrived yet, the people who make the resin cockpit for this, well, they don't actually make it for that, they make it for the Hellcat, but anyway, who also make a resin cockpit for this. And I thought, being 1/72 scale, slightly larger, I might go to town on this one as well. I've got a very detailed cockpit for it. I thought about showing one being maintained under maintenance on Cloudbase. Sort of like, I'll try and maybe remove this panel area and show the machine guns, because there's obviously like 5 of them there, so that might be quite good fun. And there's obviously a big cannon here, so maybe show like that panel removed. And I thought it might be interesting to have the engine actually sitting on a little cart or something next to it, because it's getting maintained on Cloudbase or something, and have one that's like deep into the war with the Misterons, a very battle weary interceptor, lots of sort of weathering and maybe panels that have been replaced that haven't been painted white, or have been painted white and they're bright, just that sort of thing. It'd be interesting to try and see what I can do with this kit. Raised panel lines on it obviously, but then that'll actually help for describing the panel lines, and there's an awful lot of them anyway. So that might be quite good fun. And of course I'm still working on Rob's little tank, the little 100th scale T34. Just sort of trying various weathering things. I'm going to try actually putting the mud effect on this one. Just be again quite a challenge to do it on a 100th scale T34, I should say. So anyway, this time I refilled my little tankard. So, to the brave and true, and you lot.